Hey guys, welcome back to some more reviews, and today I talk about Scream 2 from 1997, gets a 6.1 IMDb, once again directed by Wes Craven. Now, Scream 2 I think is pretty decent. To be honest with you guys, personally I'm more of a fan of Scream 3. I think this is a more entertaining movie. It's underrated, it's fun, and thought it was, well made, had a lot of fun with the movie, very entertaining film. So I had a little bit more fun, a little bit more entertainment with Scream 3. But personally, like I said, personally I still think that Scream 3 is a little bit better. But Scream 2 is still, I think it's pretty decent. I have a few problems with the movie, and has a basic disc, just a gray disc, pretty much. And the theme of Scream 2, I like the movie, but I have a few problems with it. Like, I don't have as many problems with this movie as I do with probably, like, Scream 3. I know that people are probably shocked, what the freak, you like Scream 3? Yeah, I really enjoyed Scream 3. In my opinion, I enjoyed Scream 3. I thought it was just very entertaining. I thought it was fun. But that's another review, later, for Scream 3. But Scream 2, I still think it's pretty decent. I don't hate the movie. I still think it's pretty decent. I just don't enjoy it as much as Scream 3, but I still find it to be a good movie. And I think it's I'm gonna have to list off the good things. Sorry, I got tongue twister there. The good things about the movie, I'm gonna list off the good things and the bad things. The good things, I think it's casted well. Has a great cast. Fun cameos. I noticed. I'll talk about in the review. Talking about the some of the Easter eggs in the movies, the bloopers, not bloopers, but just sort of the Easter eggs in the movies. Not all the Easter eggs. I'm sure there's more of them, but there was one really cool one I got to mention in this review. At the beginning of the review, and it was really cool. Which in Scream 1 I forgot to mention it, but I'll probably talk about that when I get to that part of the review. But Scream 2, basically, like I said, the good things about it is it's got a good cast. It's acted well, it's directed well, still has that cool neo-slasher film, feel to it. The score is great. Besides that, though, there were a few problems. Also, I really enjoyed some of the ideas, like the whole theater thing going on at the end of the movie. Really enjoyed that idea. So yeah, there were some ideas that were pretty cool at the beginning of the movie when they're showing Stab in the movie theater. Thought it was pretty cool. But there were some problems with it. For the most part, the acting was decent, but you get sometimes when the acting can kind of get a little bit weak. Certain lines that get delivered, and you're like, okay, that was a little bit weak, delivery right there. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. For the most part, it's good acting. But like I said, sometimes you'll get some dialogue where you're like, okay, that was a little bit of a weak line of dialogue. And also you have some stupid jokes, honestly. Not all the jokes are stupid. There are some I laughed at, but, not all the jokes in the movie were funny. There were certain moments in the movie where I was like, okay, that doesn't make sense because there's a point in the movie, I just mention it now. There's a point in the movie where they're in the film class, and I think the character, Randy, there's a character in the room that mentions the line from Aliens, that famous line. Well, he says that the line, he's like, well, basically he corrects the person, but it ends up being that line that person said wasn't the wrong line. And he tried to correct the person. It didn't make sense. It just didn't make that much sense. And there were just certain moments in the movie where, it was like that. Like, there's a scene where the character tried to get the character's name. It's Sydney's boyfriend. He was in Kangaroo Jack. I can't remember his name though. See, they got this I think they got it listed in alphabetical order. So, well, I don't know about that now because it's just weird how they got it listed on IMDb. It's not in alphabetical order. They got it listed weird though, because like Courtney Cox, she's way down on like the freaking bottom of the list. You gotta, well, not literally, but you know what I mean. You guys keep scrolling down until you see the main cast, like you see, Dewey and Sydney's character, and like That's a little bit of a weird way to do the cast list in IMDb. Usually it has the main, the two stars of the movie, and then it goes down the list. But you got David Arquette returning in the movie. You got Courtney Cox. You got Nev Campbell making a return. So yeah, it was good having the characters come back, and they're all acted very well. Um, but I want to get the actor's name. The character, he's basically Sydney's boyfriend, and it was I can't who was it? Well, he was from Kangaroo Jack, but it's hard to find out where his name is on here because the freaking for some reason the cast list is freaking all over the place on IMDb. The stars of the movie are like way at the bottom of the list for some reason, which usually it's not the case. It's usually the main cast members on the top of the list, and it goes down and gets to other cast members. But whatever, it was Sydney's boyfriend. Um, and there's a scene where he's in the lunchroom and he gets on top of the tables and he starts singing a song. Everybody's clapping and cheering along, and I was like, this is not funny. This is kind of, I don't know, kind of stupid humor. Because I was like, this isn't funny. Who would get up in the middle of lunch and do this? Seriously, just get up and start singing. And it was from Top Gun, but it was just like, who would do that? Like, that was kind of one of those scenes where I was like, okay, that was kind of, the humor was kind of not working there. The humor, I didn't find it funny. But there are a few scenes, where you got humor, it's like not really that funny, you're just kind of like, okay, why'd they put that in there? It's not really that funny. But there are some jokes I found pretty funny. Like when Gale gets smacked, the girl goes, "Did you get that on film?" And the guy goes, "Yes, I got that on film." I thought some of the jokes were still. It had some, like I said, it had some jokes that were not, hilariously funny. But there were some jokes, I found pretty decent. But basically, what it's about, it's 2 years after the murders, and after pretty much what happened in the first movie. It's 2 years later, and it's in college. And at the beginning of the movie, you got the Stab premiere. It's pretty much based off of the events of the first Scream, and it's basically it's like a reenactment of a book because I guess Gale Weathers. Sorry about that, kind of spit for some reason. Um, but Gale Weathers wrote this book, and it's being based. The book's being based, on a movie, and well, the movie's being based on a book. My apologies, I got that mixed around. But the movie's being based on the book, and pretty much it's the premiere of the movie, and they go there, fun atmosphere with people in the theater, the knives, well, the costumes, and everybody having fun. Like that would be a fun experience to go to the movie theaters nowadays, and just everybody in there having fun. I remember I went to Straight Outta Compton. That was a pretty fun experience going there, and everybody in the theaters having a good time. Yeah. I was kind of wishing that it was like, because I haven't been to a premiere opening of a movie like this exciting. Like they had masks on, they had people in there just partying, having a great time. It looked like it'd be pretty fun, But it's a pretty cool idea of them going to the theater, and the whole everybody wearing the ghost face, outfit. And pretty much it's the boyfriend and girlfriend. They're going there to see the movie Stab. The boyfriend goes in the bathroom, really really just pretty gross death scene. It was even grosser in Scary Movie, which you guys know what I mean. A freaking Scary Movie that was freaking gross. But in this movie, it was just sort of ooh, and Scary Movie was like, ew, that's freaking gross. But pretty much, the boyfriend hears a weird noise coming from the stall next door, and kind of puts his ear up to the stall wall, and the knife gets stabbed right through the stall, the wall of the stall. Rhymes, right? Gets stabbed through the wall of the stall, and the knife goes through his ear into his head, and it's like, ooh, which they did it. Like I said, they did a freaking parody of that in Scary Movie, which was sort of gross. Like, ooh, that's freaking disgusting. But and after he kills him, pretty much Ghostface leaves the bathroom and goes in the theater, and it's a pretty interesting death scene where the girlfriend's in the theater, and he stabs her, and she walks up to the front of the where the movie's premiering, like the screen, and she just screams, and then she falls, and then boom, Scream 2. And pretty much like I said, it's when the characters are now going to college. You got Randy and Sydney. You got Sydney's boyfriend. You got a couple of her friends. The guy from Hitman the movie, not the new one, but the old one, I believe from 2007. I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name because the freaking cast list on here is freaking. If I find his name, but it's freaking the names on here are all messed up. It's Jamie Kennedy from Hitman the movie, the original Hitman the movie, not the new one, like I said. But you got him and pretty much a couple of her friends, and they're pretty much hanging out, and they find out about the murders. And to mention the Easter egg, you find out, of course, in the first movie, I believe it was Wes Craven who played a janitor in the first movie. There was a cool Easter egg where he was wearing the Freddy Krueger outfit, the sweater and stuff like that. I believe it was Wes Craven. That's a pretty cool Easter egg in the movie, pretty cool. And of course, in this movie, while the girl's in their closet, you can see the Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy Krueger sweater. You see it right there. It's pretty cool Easter egg. It's like, okay, that's really cool. And pretty much they hear about the murders, and then they're trying to figure out who this murderer is. They kind of have. That's the good thing about another good thing about the series. They kind of have fun with the idea of who the killer is. They make certain characters look all serious and suspicious, but then ends up being a total different character. They have fun with that in the movie series. They have fun with that idea. So you don't know who's the killer. They really do make you feel like you don't know who the killer is. You're like, okay, this person's acting really suspicious, but then that person gets killed. So you're like, okay, well then this person's suspicious. That person gets killed. You're like, oh, this is really slimming down the chances of me picking the right person on who, guessing who the killer is. And it's really hard to do that in these movies. And it's probably a very hard thing to accomplish, because, people sometimes in, horror mysteries be like, oh, that's the killer, I know in the original Friday the 13th, well, it wasn't that. I think it was, there was another thriller that everybody was talking about they knew who the killer was. I can't remember. It wasn't the original Friday the 13th, but it was like a slasher movie where pretty much you knew who the killer was. But I can't remember the name of it now. But and they do a great job in these movies. Like I said, they have fun with the idea so that you don't really know who the killer is. And pretty much people getting killed on campus. There's a girl who gets stabbed in the back and thrown off a balcony. There's a girl who gets her throat slit. There's a scene where there's a car scene, where pretty much the ghost face attacks the cops, slits one's throat. Pretty much one cop gets from the freaking because he's trying to stop the killer. The killer hits him and he's on the freaking hood of the car, and then they wreck, and these poles go right to the guy's eye. And then Randy gets killed. He pretty much gets pulled in his van and stabbed. Then they pretty much Cindy gets to the theater where she pretty much because she has theater class there, and pretty much she goes there and she finds out who the killer is or who the killers are, and you find out that it's a character named Randy who his whole idea is he's gonna get caught and he's gonna blame on the movies. He's gonna get away with it, and then his partner is Billy's mom, and then she's in it for just pure revenge for Sydney killing her son. And kind of felt, I mean, Jamie Kennedy did a decent job playing a killer. It was just the character of Billy's mom. I was kind of like, okay, I don't really buy her as a freaking killer. I don't know. Just the way that she looked, it didn't, like in the original Friday the 13th, I bought, I bought Betsy Palmer as a killer because she acted crazy, And this one it's kind of like, I don't buy it. I really don't buy it. But she pretty much shoots the Randy character because she's like, well, you're not gonna get away with you're not gonna get away with the murders and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm getting tongue twisters today. But pretty much Billy's mother is like, you're not gonna get away with the murders. Shoots him. Sydney pretty much fights Billy's mom. Finally ends up knocking these bricks down. She gets her and then you get to the point in the movie where also got to mention this movie they bring in a character named Cotton or something like that. I think his name is Cotton. Yeah, whatever. The character in the movie is called Cotton. So pretty much you find out he's a guy who's been framed. In the last movie you find out that he wasn't the person that killed Sydney's mom, and he's all about wanting to get famous, getting his 15 minutes of fame. He wants to get rich. He wants to get famous. And at the end of the movie, Billy's mom's telling him, "Oh, and we'll figure this all out. You'll get famous. You'll get everything you want." And then pretty much Cotton has a decision to shoot Sydney or shoot the killer. And at first, you kind of know you think he's gonna shoot Sydney, but then he ends up shooting Billy's mom, and then pretty much the end of the movie, you know, Gail gets back in the news reporting and stuff like that because you find out that her partner sort of just is like, screw this, I'm not in this anymore. He pretty much walks out, but then at the end of the movie he comes back. He's like, well, let's go back to old school, and I'll shoot you, do the news report, and go back to good old times. So Gail Weathers is now a news reporter again, and Sydney survives, and Dewey gets stabbed, but he's still alive, and pretty much Sydney, um, Gail Weathers, and Dewey survives. Cotton survives, and pretty much that's the end of the movie. And like I said, I think it's a decent sequel. I think it's well shot, well acted, but personally, I found a little bit more entertainment out of 3. So yeah, I'm a bigger fan of 3, but I still gotta say, Scream 2 is decent. It's a decent film, and yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching my review on Scream 2, and I'll see you guys on next review. Bye guys.